Whether or not you live with an STI, it's important to have the sexual health conversation following the STARS acronym format. STI status, turn-ons, avoids, relationship intentions, and safe sex etiquettes. My name is Adrienne Rommel. I am a certified holistic nutritionist that specializes in women's sexual health and wellness. And today I'm going to be talking about how to have empowered and confident sexual health conversations and how to disclose your STI status to a potential sexual partner if you live with an STI. Okay, so if you've seen any of my videos on this channel, you'll know that I am a very passionate STI advocate because I live with two of the most common yet most stigmatized STIs that are viruses. I have both HPV and herpes. And I've lived with both of these viruses for almost 20 years. And in my years of experience, I have experienced all of the shame, all of the stigma, but I've learned how to manage these viruses within my body to manage and prevent them from coming back in the future. But it's also about managing my relationships and giving my partners informed consent. Meaning giving them the choice, telling partners before I have sex with them that I live with these viruses, and giving them the choice on whether or not they want to engage in a sexual relationship with me. Because let's be honest, I wish that somebody gave me that choice when I contracted herpes, especially. And I've learned throughout my years of having both of these viruses on how to confidently have successful conversations with potential partners around my sexual health status. But it's not just about me sharing my sexual health status with them and me telling them, hey, I live with herpes or I live with HPV and it's something that you should know, which is true. But it's also about understanding their sexual health status, their sexual health experiences, if they've ever come across any STIs in their life. But it's really great to have these conversations because talking about these things openly and honestly before getting intimate with somebody really creates trust in a relationship, and it does help to connect with your partner or potential partner, and it does build intimacy, and it really helps you to understand your partner from a sexual perspective, which is really important when you're either starting a new relationship, whether it be a relationship or just a sexual relationship. But it's also important to have these conversations if you're in a long-term relationship as well, just to keep things spicy. Make sure that you're maintaining your communication with your partner to understand what is working, what isn't working, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, as well as your partner's. These conversations are so important to have in any relationship. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you on how to have these sexual health conversations in a healthy, confident, and empowered way. These conversations can bring up a lot of stuff for a lot of people. They can be awkward, they can be really vulnerable, and a lot of people avoid having these conversations because of those reasons. A lot of people want to have sex, but don't want to talk about it. So I'm here to teach you how to talk about it. If you live with an STI like herpes or HPV or HIV, meaning an STI that is lifelong, or any other STI, I believe there's also hepatitis. Anything that is lifelong, that is potentially at a risk of transmitting to your partner, it's really important to have a disclosure conversation and disclose your STI status before having sex with your potential sexual partner. It's called informed consent. And it's really, really important because I know a lot of people, myself included, who wish that I had the choice to make the decision and to understand the risks of having sex with my particular partner before I contracted herpes. And I mean, a lot of people live with herpes who don't realize it. A lot of people live with the herpes virus in their system but don't even know it, or they do and they're asymptomatic and they don't know. There's a lot of depth that goes into these sexually transmitted infections, but this is why it's so important to inform yourself and empower yourself with knowledge to be able to better inform your potential sexual partners and go into these conversations with confidence and feeling empowered in yourself that you're doing the best that you can to make sure that you're taking care of your health and doing the best that you can to protect your potential sexual partner to prevent transmission to them. Okay, so all that being said, I'm gonna suggest 3 different steps going into these conversations. The first step to disclose your STI status to your potential sexual partner is, like I said throughout this video, informing yourself. Knowledge is power, and people fear what they don't know. So if you don't really know the status of your health or your particular STI, how are you going to confidently inform somebody else? What's really important is to understand, do your research and understand as much as you can about the virus that you live with or the STI that you live with. Understand the facts and the stats. Understand high level about how it works in the body and how it's been working for you in your body. Understand the transmission rates. Do your research to understand how it can be potentially transmitted to your partner, but not always. I mean, I've lived with herpes for 20 years, knock on wood. I've never transmitted it to any of my partners as far as I know. So understanding those risks to be able to have these conversations with your partner in a confident way is really, really important. But it's also understanding more about the virus for yourself, for your own health, for your own knowledge and peace of mind, because it's really important to understand this information when you live with an STI. Okay, number 2, and this is probably the most difficult one. STIs, when we live with sexually transmitted infections, especially the ones that are in our bodies forever, like HPV, herpes, and HIV, a lot of us carry the shame and the stigma that come along with these STIs. And I know personally because I carried the shame and stigma of these viruses for almost 20 years. And it really impacted my life in so many ways. It not only affected me physically with the symptoms of the virus, like herpes, for example, but it really started to impact my mental and emotional health. And it really started to impact my self-confidence and my self-worth. And with the work that I do, and I work with a lot of people, both men and women, who live with these viruses, a lot of people say to me, who's gonna ever love me? Who's ever gonna accept me again? How am I ever gonna live my life with this virus? And trust me, I have felt like that also. But when we live with this shame and stigma within ourselves, we carry that into our relationships and into our life experiences. To give you an example with me, like I've been single for a long time and I used to not put myself out there because I was so afraid of having these conversations and the potential of being rejected. Let's be honest, rejection sucks. But you know, you've seen all these memes and you've heard all these people say rejection is redirection. And I think that most of the time, people who live with STIs avoid having these conversations because they're afraid of rejection, which bruises our precious egos. It's really hard to be rejected, especially when we really like somebody. So if you still live with this shame and stigma with these viruses, it's really important to do the work to heal what's coming up for you. Because I always say, living with lifelong STIs that are heavily stigmatized, it's like putting a mirror like this in front of your face, which brings up a lot of past trauma. And I always say with the clients that I work with, it's never just about the herpes or the HPV. It's always issues that are underlying that we've been living with for a really long time that we haven't healed. For example, my own self-worth and my self-confidence. These are things that I need to work on to be able to go into these conversations being confident and empowered within myself, to not have any expectations of going into these conversations, and loving myself no matter what the result of this conversation is, no matter if the person rejects me or not, because I know in my heart of hearts that I am a wonderful, valuable, loving person with my STIs, and I know my value, but that's because I've done the work to heal. But even if you are in a relationship and you are experiencing this shame and stigma, it's really important that you can still be in a relationship and still feel these feelings. It's constant work. It's just about acknowledging them, understanding them, and understanding that these things are coming up and doing the work to heal, whether you're in a relationship or not. So, whether or not you live with an STI, it's important to have the sexual health conversation following the STARS acronym format. STI status, turn-ons, avoids, relationship intentions, and safe sex etiquettes. Talk about it. Talk about it with your partner. It builds intimacy and trust and helps you to set boundaries and helps you understand what you like, what you don't like. And it really does create a next level version of intimacy in your sexual relationship with your partner. And number 3, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Going into these conversations empowered with knowledge and information and facts, feeling confident within yourself that you know that you are taking care of yourself to handle it, that you're healing a lot of the stuff that it's bringing up for you, can help you to go into these conversations feeling confident and empowered. But also having these conversations with an open heart, an open mind, compassion, and empathy for your partner, because again, a lot of this information may be new to your partner. Some people may have had experience with it, and a lot of people haven't. So taking the time to give your partner space if they're kind of not sure, and keeping the resources handy in your back pocket to send to your partners if they want to know more, if they want to understand more about the risks. And accepting rejection if it comes. It will come at some point. And if it does, those aren't your people. And just remembering that a rejection isn't a reflection of you. It's more a reflection of them. And having faith that somebody will love and accept you with having an STI, and they will accept all of you. And those are your people. Those are the people that you want to be with. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your health. And these sexual health conversations are really important, regardless of if you live with an STI or not. They are so beneficial to have at the beginning of any relationship and continuously throughout your relationship. And if you do live with an STI, it's really important to learn how to take the best care of yourself so that you can learn more about how it works in your body, how you can manage and prevent it, and prevent transmission to your partners. Our goal is for you to become the superhuman version of yourself, the BiOptimized woman. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, click on the like button below and the subscribe button if you want to see more, and click on the little bell notification to get notified when I create more videos like this. And please send me your comments. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more information as I talk more about holistic nutrition and wellness practices for women's health.